I think a lot of times people say, well, Bitcoin takes too much electricity, or Bitcoin mining is too much electricity. Well, what about all the other industries that take tons of electricity or use caustic chemicals?
Aluminum smelting.
Yeah, there's no free lunch, right?
I mean, even in banks, just you need to go to the big vaults.
So, I mean, it's a convenient thing to say, well, it uses a lot of electricity, but there are other industries that are extremely electricity intensive, like steel, or any type of industry like that. So it kind of gives it a bad reputation, but there's other industries using just as much power.
I'm fascinated by all the ways in which Bitcoin can be used to arbitrage between things.
Yep.
Okay, and you usually think of that financially. But in terms of, I was just reading something about China where over the past 15 years, China put billions of dollars into developing these regions that a lot of them never went anywhere.
Yep.
So they had built, electricity generating dams to power a town that never came into existence. And so some of these miners are using that unused capacity to basically turn electricity into Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually, you're monetizing energy. So if you could arbitrage between geographical locations, if it's easy and cheap to make electricity over here, mine it into Bitcoin, and then you can move it instantly and sell it over here and buy electricity, where it's much more expensive.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's interesting ways that you can arbitrage, not only financially, but in terms of energy.
I mean, it's just a fascinating industry. I mean,
I smell like another level of subsidy. We're talking about how you point at the Chinese mining pool, and you're not Chinese. So yes, we know the Chinese are being subsidized in terms of electricity. I feel there's another level of subsidy there in terms of you point your machines at their pool, you get a higher payout. Where is that money coming from for the higher payout?
well, you don't get a higher payout.
Yeah. No, when you point your machines at their pool.
Okay, so that's a great question. Is that what you guys, I mean, when you hear that, the big mine pool, do you think more Bitcoin? Do you think more profitability? Because that's a common misconception. More hash power. So, for example, I could put this machine online and mine by myself, solo mine, and I might hit a block in 20 years. I don't know. It'd take forever, right? Forever. If I put this machine on Antpool, I'm going to hit a percentage of the block within 10 minutes, probably, 15 minutes. So what a pool does for you, it doesn't increase your profitability at all, because I've tested them all. What it does is reduce your variability. So you can, a huge pool like Antpool, like we showed on this half of the graph, those huge pools, it's great, right? You get into mining, you plug it in, I'm on Antpool, man, I'm hitting a block like every 20 minutes. It's awesome. Then you look at your total. So there's a huge amount of hash power on that pool, so you're getting very low percentage, right? So at the end of the day, my little 40 petahash pool compared to the 160 petahash pool, in the long run, typically the long run in Bitcoin, call it a month.
The new dog years, right?
Yeah, you're actually going to get the same amount. But the nice thing is, the advantage of a big pool is that you're going to get the payouts, right? So if you're running a business and you need cash flow, there's less chance that you're going to come up short at the end of the month to pay your bills because you know the variability is going to be less.
Right.
So that's the difference. The other thing about Chinese, not so much Chinese pools, but huge pools, is it's a lot easier for them to do things with the pop, right? Takes them off the top or whatever. I'm not saying anybody does that. All I can say is from the results that I've seen is that we do better on certain pools. Yeah, even though in the long run, on average. And so that's why we chose the one that we work with now, which is kind of a good mix, right? It's like 50 petahash. So yeah, we're going to have periods of bad luck, which we had last month actually. It was really bad. for like 2 weeks, and I'm like, it's just crazy, right? We're in the red, just not hitting. And then literally, the first or second day of September, it starts going nuts, right? And it catches back up. So, and that's a hard thing to deal with, right? So we made it, last month we made a decision as a company, okay, we're gonna scale back a little bit on our payouts, because we used to pay out, before the halving, we would pay out 100%. Now we're holding back a little bit. So we're gonna build up some cash value to reinvest in the business and to give us a little bit of, play in that variation, so.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what percentage of your revenues are you putting to the side for new machines that come out, new technology that reinvest in your business?
We just started reinvesting, actually. I mean, most of our new investment was investors. So we did a initial seed round, which was only 4 people, my dad and I and 2 others, 2 good friends of mine. And then we did a Series A round, so we raised some money that way. We brought those people in and started getting, got some performance information and got that. We knew it was going to work and we could show some profitability and it wasn't like a scam or something like that, So we did that, and then we did another 2 rounds after that. So we've got several equity rounds, and then we're looking at ways to reinvest profits, because we're getting to the point where we've stabilized past the halving, so we can we've got 4 years, right? We've got a 4-year outlook. We know that the machines are going to last longer, so we can kind of plan better. And that's one thing about the halving. Brooke and I talked about this before. She asked me, what do you think is going to happen? And I said, I don't think anything's going to happen. I think the hash rate is going to be right where it's at, because in normal business, I mean, you can predict business cycles, but you don't have, if you have a drop in sales, 20% in a month or 50% in a month, you might not have planned for it. I mean, it just happened, like, maybe capital spending went down or whatever. We knew about this. We knew about it. So if you weren't doing your projections based on 12.5, like last year, then you're probably not in a very good place. But the people that are entering mining right now are business-minded people. So when they look at an investment, they look at the cost of investment, return on investment, and those types of aspects. So, like if we're buying a machine for a plant, we're gonna, okay, what's the return on investment? So those are the, those are types of decisions are made. It's not just on a whim, let's go buy 250 grand worth of miners, throw them online, see what happens. We're gonna calculate it out and see when are we gonna break even? How long do we think it's gonna last? And then, those decisions are gonna be a little bit easier now, because it's not like, okay, should we do S7? Should we wait? This, that, it's tough, so you kind of have to manage it that way.
We're gonna take your old hardware, and as things get more difficult, you take everything and then just stretch it on altcoins and keep the machinery running. Is that a strategy?
You can do that. There are Proofofwork coins, like PureCoin is one of them. You can mine yeah, it's got a component that you can mine with these machines. So it's limited.
Is that a different process? So like you can't mine Ethereum?
Yeah. These machines do SHA-256.
Okay.
So it's just
Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a few other coins, but they're insignificant. I mean, I hate to say insignificant, but in terms of profitability,
At this point,
you're not going to make any money mining it. GPUs are a little bit more flexible. And so, so when you're when you're putting money on the line, it's kind of tough. Okay, if Bitcoin goes away, we got a lot of really nice paperweights, laying around. So, but that's why I said when you get into this, you have to be like in it for real.
would it make sense to do a GPU thing and have that, or you're thinking about 10, 20 years?
Yeah.
What would that look like?
So I do GPUs
Okay.
specifically because the GPU themselves maintain their value.
Exactly. Yep. That's
So
yep.
when I'm done mining or mining goes back for several months, like I can sell that GPU and get 9%.
Yeah, because gamers will buy it all day long.
Okay.
So if you're thinking about dabbling in Bitcoin, I mean, I'm using Bitcoin as kind of like the goal. That would be a great way to start. Build an Ethereum miner or an Ethereum Classic miner or whatever coin it is. Do it that way. And then or you can even do that with your PC. I mean, if your PC is pretty modern, you could throw a GPU on it and load up like Nice Hash was what I showed, which is a real simple interface. You put your Bitcoin address in there because it actually pays out in Bitcoin, even though you're mining a different coin. And that's a great way to start. See if you like it and you want to take more. I will tell you that the return on investment is much better right now on GPUs. I mean, you're probably 4 months.
Yeah, like 200 days.
Yeah, depending on your cost. Yeah. So to answer your question, we are getting into it big. We're putting a facility in Muhammad, Illinois, because we want to diversify and do that type of mining as well. And then who knows? There may be another protocol that comes along, and we'll take a look at it and see if that makes sense. We actually build those miners. These we buy. The Bitcoin miners, the GPU miners we build, put them together ourselves. So. And then we.
A little more hands-on.
Yeah, it's fun for me. It's fun for me. Chris back here, he's one of our. He's in our company as well. We've been building, testing the Ethereum miners for a while, and we're like, it's pretty good. So we're gonna jump into it.
As his father and investor, I think the smartest thing we've done at this point, we've done a lot of smart things, is the ability to see that diversification is needed, and we did it at a lower point of our 2-year run in the Bitcoin business. In other words, doing what he's doing in Muhammad, to me, made a lot of sense, and to maybe a lot of investors, what are you doing? You got to anticipate this month. But I think it was a perfect move for us to do. I can see this thing really working out. And I watched him build these machines. His mother says to him, what is he doing?
Yeah, kind of the thought is instead of doing huge 10 megawatt facilities, we could look at smaller type, like a smaller tunnel type facilities where there's advantageous costs, and this stuff is so automated that we can really manage that pretty easily, and look for opportunities like like a small warehouse type setup instead of massive facilities. I'm not interested in building huge operations like that. I mean, we're good at what we're good at, and we'll let those guys that know what they're doing do that side of the business. So you give up some margin, but you don't have a huge capital outlay to try to recoup over a series of 5 to 6 years, whatever. I like the 5 to 6 month return on capital, and then I'll take the lower profit margin.
I have a few questions. So at this point, like a few people touched on, why not just go GPU from here forward? I mean, that's my first question. Next, I noticed a lot of these Bitcoin miners on YouTube have been abandoning and having because they feel that the overhead isn't paying for itself. So are you just in it for the long run? Would they hope that the cost of Bitcoin is going to gradually increase and return your investment in the future?
Yeah, I think that's basically it. I mean, like I said, we have a lot of uncontrollables. We can't control the difficulty adjustment. We can't control the price. So just like I tell a lot of people, our investors, you have to have faith in Bitcoin to some extent, because you can't make adjustments to your business, whether it's, say like you're a fast food place and you do a remodel, right? And you attract and reopen and stuff like that. You can't do that. You just kind of have to have faith in the long-term vision of Bitcoin and the enormous utility of Bitcoin. And to me, hands down, there's nothing out there that has the utility that Bitcoin has. Nothing.
Now, how many of these miners will be kept in, let's say someone's in the room decides they want to do this for themselves to start out? How many of these basic miners will be needed to break even on average?
One. Depending on which one you buy.
Yeah, we're breaking even on the investment.
Yeah, if you bought this miner and you ran it in Chicago, how much do you pay for electricity?
I think it's
12 cents.
12, be a while, 14 months probably.
yeah, and that's
Wow.
another good point. What about buying your power from wholesaler? Is that also
We do that. Basically, where we put the Bitcoin miners in these huge facilities, they're getting very low cost electricity. So even when they mark it up, because they're on the Colorado River in some instances where they're getting a lot of hydro, renewable energy, they can mark it up at a nice margin, and it's still like great pricing for us, right? So you have to look. That's a great thing. And that's where I failed when I first started, because I just went out and, oh, it's a Bitcoin miner. I went out to Newegg and I bought this thing. And number one, it's the only miner that I've ever bought that failed. It just stopped working. Plus the power efficiency was terrible, right? It's 1 terahash, 1,000 watts. This does 5 times that. So, so it's, you gotta look at your power costs. You gotta look at the efficiency of the miner. And then make a decision like that. And there's some calculators online, and email me. I'll send you some that I use that are very accurate. So you want to try it out. Like I would recommend if you're going to do it in Chicago, buy an S9. And that would, if you're going to go with Bitcoin, do an S9. If you're going to do GPU, then I could give you some suggestions on that as well. I would recommend, like I said before, if you want to try mining, and to your point. Do some GPUs, because if you don't like it, put them on eBay. Somebody's going to buy them because the GPUs are valuable to gamers. So it's a lower risk investment. If it doesn't work out for you, you basically got a PC. You got a motherboard. Yeah. So that's what we really like. Yeah. I mean, you don't have a paperweight. You got a really nice computer. I mean, if all else fails, you got a nice computer, and that's what I showed you earlier is running on basically a rig that I built up that has got 3 GPUs on it, so we're making some money off of it, and it's running it runs the temperature stuff and rebooting machines and all that stuff. So,
and you consider solar energy for
yes, I've looked at it. I looked at the ROI because the solar is getting the cost is coming way down. I looked at, what would it cost to do a megawatt farm, because the ROI would be phenomenal.
What's a megawatt farm?
A megawatt, just the amount of power
Right.
to take, I forget what the
But
acreage.
with solar?
Yeah. I forget what the acreage it will require, but, it's probably a $2 million investment.
Okay.
Plus you don't have any power costs, you get the return on your investment, and then you've got, I think those cells last 25 years, so.
25 years. I was thinking that was 15.
Yeah, I think the new ones will last like up to 20 years. But, it's not, there's other maintenance things and things like that, but I think it's the future of mining, I really do. The question will be, what's your differential on cost? I mean, if I can get power for 2 cents a kilowatt, I'm thinking like not us, but the tier beneath us is providing these hosting. Or in Iceland where it's like nothing, right? So where's that decision point? If I can get power for 2 cents a kilowatt, does it make sense to make a $2 million investment? That's a business case. You have to look at it and think about it. The plus is you got free power after probably, I forget what my ROI was, like 5 years or something like that. So the other plus, because they're talking about diversification and GPUs and being able to get rid of them, if everything fails, you got a really nice solar farm that you can sell power back to the power company. So I've thought about that seriously, and if we get to a size where we're doing like millions of dollars a year, which that's in the plan, we'll probably look at it. I think in the future at some point. Right now, it's just we don't have the resources to put that kind of money towards something. Hopefully, we will in the future, though.
Do you know anything about these advances in cooling technology, like mineral oil or water cooling stuff?
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. That's another area. Mineral oil is a great way to cool. You basically take your miner, because mineral oil doesn't conduct electricity, and you dump it into mineral oil, and it dissipates the heat, and then you run the oil through a condenser, like a radiator. Yeah. So, can you do it? Yes. Is it expensive and messy? Yes. Bitfury does it. The stuff, the oil itself is pretty expensive. So if you get leaks and things, I mean, it's not at a point. And I talked to much bigger miners than us about this. It's not to again we're that decision point. It's not to a point where the efficiency is so much better than air that you have to do it in order to make money. So that's why I think you're seeing the optimization of like these fans and the design of these machines. So they're basically like jet engines.
Yeah.
I mean, they literally sound like a jet engine, right? That's the other problem. These things are loud and obnoxious. So I almost got kicked out of my house like 3 times because of these things. So that's another issue with it.
Yeah, but you familiar with ASIC boost?
I'm sorry?
Are you familiar with ASIC boost and other optimizations that they kind of...
Is that what the U of I was working on? Like the
So
optimization?
they wanted to actually like kind of, I think the idea was like to license it, right? So it was like they made an optimization on the algorithm and
Right.
and they wanted to sell this and you know it kind of whoever makes it has a leg up in their mind.
Yeah.
And
I think it would come down to, does it benefit the majority of the hash power in production costs, or I don't know if it's just a software change, or if you hit the chip with some code, or I don't know what it is, but if it's a protocol change, I don't see it happening. Just from nothing against Ethereum and that sort of thing, but with what happened with the DAO, I think people are going to be a lot less willing to change things, at least abrupt, without a lot more information around how it's going to affect things. So, I mean, from a mining perspective, right? Because Bitcoin working is essential to us surviving, right? So, I don't think, as far as voting for things, I mean, I think we're going to err towards the side of being very careful of that. And we're not big enough to have any kind of noticeable effect on whether we do SegWit or not. I mean, we're not that big. I mean, we throw our hat in the ring and say, yeah, I'm going to mine on this pool because they want SegWit or they don't want SegWit or whatever.
Do you want
I think it would be cool if people came up with that type of technology and throw it out there. I mean, let the market decide. And that's like, Roger Ver wants bigger blocks. Well, I mean, my thing with that is, okay, that's a stance, okay, but let the market decide. Come out with a better product, Bitcoin Unlimited or whatever it is, and let the market decide which one is best, right? And I think I know what that answer is going to be, and that's why I'm confident in what we're doing, right? Because there's not going to be a lot of change. I think that's the value in Bitcoin, right? If it was easy to change, there's no value to it, right? It needs to be hard to change. So.
That's good. You're a pragmatic businessman. You mine Ethereum Classic and some other coins, depending on where the hype is that month. But I just kind of sense a little bit of Bitcoin maximalism in some of the ways.
No doubt. I mean, I'm for sure I'm 100%. I mean, I'm not going to sit up here and say that I'm going to mine a coin that doesn't make money just because I don't know, right? I mean, I'm not going to do that for obvious reasons.
Now, what's your opinion of it?
I'm being
on like, is Bitcoin going to be? Is it going to be a variety of coins?
Do you hold other currencies?
Yes.
That's a good.
Absolutely. I mean, I truly believe in the ecosystem, whether it's any of these technologies, like, whether it's Bitcoin wallets or it's this, I like to promote the products, the different products, whatever, the different coins. like I said, I mean, just from a business perspective, you're not going to mine a coin that doesn't make you money. So you have to weigh that. If I have a choice between Ethereum Classic and Ethereum, I believe that the blockchain should be immutable. So, and I believe that, so that's why I'm saying I want Classic, because we reround the tape, right? And so we have to let people fail. There's got to be creative destruction, right? So if you make a wrong investment, if I make a wrong investment in a machine, sorry. So I think that's really critical to the long-term longevity of Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin's hard to change, I'm fine with it. If something better comes out, I'm fine with that too. The market will determine that, which is what's so great about it, right? I mean, you know, it's a fascinating study of market systems, this whole industry. It's amazing. There's so many moving things. You can't do one thing without an effect. Like in economics, you know, all the demand and supply graphs, so you're blue in the face, right? I mean, it's as close to perfect competition as you can get. You know, everything's, you know, all things being equal, you know, like in college, all things being equal. It's pretty close to that. It's pretty close to that. It's not that. There's free electricity in China. That's not fair. That's not fair. I mean, you know, but it is what it is, so you just have to compete.
Going back to the halving, when that happened, we didn't have the hash apocalypse. And actually afterward, it looked like some additional hash power was added to the network. Were some miners holding back just to wait and then add more later just to prevent?
I don't know the answer to that specifically. I know from us what we did and what a very large miner in the West did. We were bringing equipment in at that point.
Beforehand?
Yeah, we had to place orders. So
I did hear that some had waited and then had some extra in reserve to put on the network after that.
it could be to just see what happened. I mean, you know, if everything fell through the bottom, you know, they could hold back, just leave them offline. I have Spondoolies miners I mentioned before. They can't really make a whole lot of money right now, even if they're underclocked. But we're keeping them there because if it goes to 1,000, which I believe it's going to go to 1,000 soon, we'll put them back online. You know, we may have to underclock them, but to me, if the miner is making money, I should be running it. I mean, I outlaid cash to buy the machine. The whole point of it was to return on investment, which we already had. But you know, if it can make money, let's run it. You know, so that's kind of the deal. There's a lot of aspects to it. Like I said, if you guys are interested in it, I'm not trying to sell you anything or whatever. Totally, if you want to learn how to mine or build a miner or you know, just general questions, hit me up. Like I said, we kind of run through the ringer and done things wrong, and there's no reason for you guys to go through the pain if you're interested. And that's what I really like about this industry is that people compete, but at the end of the day, when a product is released, everybody benefits. So yeah, there's competition, but it's open source. Same thing with mining. The way I feel about it is, if you want to mine, I'm gonna help you get there because you know that adds value to the system.
You also raise 3 girls.
Yeah, so it's taken a lot of time. It's not easy. I mean, to get to this level, it's a huge commitment with a real-time job and you know keeping things running. But again, if you love what you're doing, it's just kind of what you know. It's not work, right? And this is kind of a long-term. It's a long-term.
Fugue state, right?
Fugue state, totally, totally. I mean, it was getting pretty bad. I was watching like Andreas like 20%. It was bad. It was bad. But I was just like, this guy, I mean, you know, he gets it. He like listening to him talk. And I don't agree with Andreas on everything, but I would say 99%. And I was just like, it was over. You know, I was like, just clicked. And I was like, this is what I want to do.
So back to the cost of electricity, are you aware of anyone trying to recover that cost by trying to make a power plant?
That's a great point. Yeah, with all the BTU.
Yeah, I mean that's how
Yeah.
it heats water. So
Yep, that's great. I think there's a huge opportunity for engineers to develop like recuperative technology because, like, when we make dry ice, there's not too much heat. So there's not that much opportunity. But for example, we get CO2 from ethanol plants. They need hot water. It's called cook water. It's used in the process. So they spend a lot of money getting that water up to temperature. So if we could, with all that heat, run it through a exchanger and provide them water, I mean, everybody wins, right? It's not just waste. So I have thought about that. It's just like kind of like the solar thing. Is how could we use this heat? I haven't come up with anything. So if you know, if you got some ideas.
I was actually thinking like an actual power plant, like coal power plants work by heating water and then it spins a turbine. So if you have miners heating water, and that's when the turbine
Yep.
uses it.
Steam. Yep. I mean, with the tanks.
That hot though.
Yeah, it wouldn't get. Yeah.
No water?
Only like 80C.
Yeah, it would get it to a point where you would save the electric company money
Yeah.
because they wouldn't have to. They don't have to take it. Yeah.
Maybe it would be like a liquid that boils the center out or something.
Yeah. No, it's a great idea, and I think you'll see that. With these, I mean, you're talking about massive operations, right? And you think of it's all in China. It's not. Trust me. You go in the Western United States and you know where they're at. There are huge mines, huge facilities, as far as you can see, stacked with those things. And they're all producing massive amounts of heat. So from an engineering perspective, it's a great opportunity to say, okay, how can we utilize this heat? Maybe in the same facility somehow to generate, maybe you can co-generate electricity right there, right? So use the heat. I don't know.
Well, yeah, the big colo next to the current place, they provide hot water to like the current place and a couple of places around it.
Now, one thing if you want to do a small mine in your house and you have the power, you might have to run some power.
It's a great space heater for me.
Exactly. When I first started mining, I was buying miners from a guy on Amazon, those S4s I was talking about, and he heated his house in the winter. He had like 15 S4s, and it produced more than enough heat to heat his whole house. So, hey, no heating bill. So just adds to the margin on the machine, reduces your return on investment, So it's some serious heat. Somebody's going to come up with something. Because I think right now, like mining is kind of like, it's there, but it's not really there in the U.S. Well, it is.
Did you say that this was like in Colorado, that they also have marijuana there?
Yeah.
There's like a hot house.
Yeah.
With asylum.
It's the same. There are people utilizing miners to do that, to introduce heat into their process. Yeah. So yeah, I think that industry is going to benefit from Bitcoin in multiple ways, and that could be one of them. Or like greenhouses. There's all kinds of. It's pretty crazy to think of some of the, what you can do with this. And maybe your main thing isn't mining, but you need heat for your process. Plug them in, get the heat, and get money back. It's crazy. It's just nuts to think about. The grand scheme of things. What we're doing is kind of mind blowing. But it's fun for me, just from like I said, I'm a numbers guy, data guy. So from that aspect, it's fun making these determinations, looking at the numbers, working with. The people I've met in this industry are phenomenal people. The people here in the Meetup in Florida, I've been to twice in Miami. Very impressive people that are in this space. So that's why I'm very bullish that people are going to need what we do. Because those people are working on solutions that are going to utilize the Bitcoin network. Got my card here if you guys are interested.